All right. All right. Peace, peace, peace. All right. So we're gonna do another little intro on black biology. Um, Understanding melanin, understanding immunity, understanding how is it that we bring nutrition to a black body from a black perspective. All right. That's what this is gonna be about. And this one's in honor of the Honorable Dr. Sebi. So rest in power, my master teacher. And we're going to really get to dissect this thing. We gotta dissect this thing so we know what's going on right now, because Dr. Sebi said this. Dr. Sebi said that right now we're at a level where it's difficult to link health with nutrition. And the reason for that is because right now we're following and running behind Europe. We're running behind the colonizers, right? These same people that have subjugated your grandfather, your grandmother, and took over the world have now created these giant institutions that are worth so much money and control the narrative of health. And they're telling you need protein, you need blood, flesh, and starch. They're telling you that. And because you trust them, you're taking their advice, and it's leading to the death of our people. We are the leaders in diabetes, we're leaders in heart disease. They say AIDS, sickle cell, and it's all because we are being misdirected by their giant institutions and big pharma. And even though the consequences are weighing heavily on us, we still run towards them because there is no alternative. And the alternative, they chastise it. They say that you have to be an accredited doctor and graduate from our white universities for you to be an actual professional that is capable of healing what we cannot heal. That is their viewpoint. And you believe that viewpoint, and then you chastise your brother that has come to help your people, or the sister that has come to help our people. It's because they don't have the European credentials. But the people that don't have the European credentials understand black biology. They understand black people. The Europeans historically have hated you, and they continue to hate you, and will not give you any type of advice to cure you, because the Europeans make money from people suffering. They made money when you were a slave. They got free labor. They're making money they made money from you suffering as a slave. They're making money as you suffering sick. They make money from you going to chemotherapy. They make money from you going to a doctor and prescribing you medicines. They make money from that. Real economic wealth. They want you to be sick. That's why they tell you how to be sick. And in the chase for health, you poison yourself and you make yourself sick. And you say, I don't know how in the world did I get diabetes? How in the world did my cells start to sickle over? How? I thought I was so healthy. Well, you thought. We're at a level where it's difficult to link health with nutrition. We are at a level where it's difficult to link health with nutrition. Dr. Sebi spoke these words, and it's true. They tell you, your colonizers tell you that you need white rice, you need potatoes, you need cassava, you need red meats for iron. Iron in red meats? That's what they tell you. So you rush towards it and you fill your plate with the flesh that have died weeks and months ago from the slaughterhouse. You introduce that flesh into your body, and that flesh come with certain viruses and bacteria, and you wonder how you get sick. A lot of us know that if we link health with nutrition, we have to take these things off of our plate. We'll have to take the cow off the plate. We'll have to take the pig off the plate. We'll have to take those eggs off the plate. And since we're creatures of comfortability, we'd rather die than to take away that pleasure. We'd rather die than to take away that pleasure. And since it's a slow death, unless you eat snake venom, it's going to be a slow death. And since it's a slow death, you're okay with that. But when death grabs you, oh there, we start to pray. We start to pray while still eating the devil's foods. When death grabs you, you say, so help me God, I'm sorry for this and I'm sorry for that. And you're going to say that while still eating that macaroni and cheese that they call soul food. They say it's soul food. They say that rice and beans, that white rice and that beans, they say it's soul food. They say that baked chicken is soul food. But these foods impact your brain chemistry. Your brain chemistry are your thoughts. If these foods are negatively impacting your brain chemistry, then you're going to get negative thoughts. Negative brain chemistry equals negative thoughts. Negative signal transduction up there equals negative thoughts. If you're getting negative thoughts, then how is that going to be soul food? How is that going to be soul food? We got to remove a lot of our favorite foods off of our plates. Dr. Sebi knew that. Dr. Sebi also knew that ethnogenetic variance plays a role in the healing and the upkept nourishment of black people. Ethnogenetic variance, what is that? Ethno, meaning your ethnicity. Genetics, meaning your genes, and variance. So that means how your genes vary from different ethnicities. So an African or a melanated God is not going to have the same genetic structure as a Mongoloid or an Asiatic. They're different. That's why you're black and they're pale. You're different. So if you're different, then that means that the nourishment and how to keep your body healthy will be different from how they should keep their bodies healthy. That means the molecules that make your DNA is different from the molecules that make their DNA. Your DNA is different from their DNA, which means your genes are different from their genes, thus ethnogenetic variance. Well, ethnogenetic variance also is related to the environment. The environment gives to the genes and your DNA what it needs to build, what it needs to do cellular processes, what it needs to execute transcription and translation. Your environment gives your DNA what it needs. What do I mean when I say this? I mean that sunlight is food. You, a melanated God, is dependent on sunlight. You are a child of the sun. And you work the same way the plants work. The plants have chlorophyll. They have anthocyanins. They have polyphenols that absorb the sunlight, stimulates photosynthesis, and then the plant generates sugars for energy. You do the same thing with the carbon in your body known as melanin. Your melanin is a liquid polymer that's found in the mitochondria of every single cell in your body. This liquid polymer absorbs the sunlight the same way that the anthocyanins in the plants absorb the sunlight. Your body absorbs that sunlight. Your melanin absorbs that sunlight, and it makes calciferol D, and it produces ATP, and it adds to or stimulates aerobic respiration in the cells. That's energy production. That is energy production. You are dependent on the sun. The sun is food. Those hydrogen ions that come to the body, that penetrates the atmosphere, the earth, makes its way into your skin, absorbed by the carbon-rich melanin. Those ions combust and makes you dark and gives you energy. The sun is food. Your genetics are designed by ways of certain qualities of sun. You need the sun to have healthy genetics. You need those hydrogen ions to have healthy genetics, to have healthy DNA. Oxygen is food. Oxygen is food. Oxygen is what your cells need for an aerobic environment. A cell needs to have an aerobic environment. That is what the body wants to do. The body lives to breathe. Dr. Sebi said that you were born naked. So when you were born naked, and back before you had no clothes on, there was no history of rape amongst our people. There was no history of violence or prisons. But then Dr. Sebi said, the white man came, the Asians came, and they said, you guys with no clothes on are savages. The white man who have a terrible, terrible history of rape, a terrible, terrible history of murder, a terrible, terrible history of murder, are now coming and called our ancestors savages. Threw clothes on our back. Today, we all wear clothes. Today, there's nothing civil about this civilization. Today, people are still starving. Today, people are still being raped. Today, their culture is promoting the death of millions. These are the people you run to. Because they said you were a savage back when you raped nobody. Back when you were so connected with the earth and the stars. They said you were a savage, and you believe them. Your body wants to breathe. When you had no clothes on and you don't only breathe through your nose. Your cells uptake that oxygen. And when you have this clothes on, well, now your body's being suffocated. Acidosis is what happens when your cells have no oxygen. When your cells have no oxygen, you get cellular necrosis. You get the death of the cell. You get cell division. as a survival mechanism. Stress. You get high amount of stress hormones and cortisols and histamines. Fall from the lack of oxygen. How long can you go without eating? A couple months. How long can you go without drinking water? A couple days. But how long can you go without breathing? I'll be surprised if any of you make it to 5 minutes. And that shows you that the body is designed for the constant upload of oxygen. It's the oxygen that stimulates combustion as well. It's the oxygen that stimulates the production of waters within the cell environment, which lead to the next food, which is water. The sun is food. The air is food. Water is food. But remember, we're relating this to the environment and ethnogenetic variants. We said that different ethnicities and their genetics varies by the environment. The environment, which is the foods in the environment, the air of the environment, the sun, the qualities of sun of the environment, and the qualities of water of the environment, is what determines and codes those variances within the genetics of different races of people, or within different biodiversities. That's what we're saying. So the food, the sun is food. The air, oxygen is food. Water is food. Without water, then what is it that's going to harness, attenuate, and absorb the electromagnetic energies that you were receiving from the sun, that you're receiving from the trees, that you're receiving from the cosmos? Without water, you have nothing to absorb those energies from the cosmos that then directs your DNA. You are connected with the cosmos as above, so below. And those energies from the sun, those energies from the cosmos, from the galactic center, it's intelligence that your body absorbs. That intelligence is what tells your cells to build itself and how to build itself. There is nobody outside your body telling your cells to do this and then do that next and then do that right after. No, it's intelligence, it's consciousness, it is God. And God extended himself in everything in existence. Those energies is coming down from space. You absorb it from the fluids and the liquids in your body. And you absorbing that consciousness, that godly consciousness, those energies, is what keeps your DNA building itself, is what gets those atoms to form with another atom, which gets that carbon to form with the oxygen. It's what tells the carbon to form with the oxygen to then go to a hydrogen and then form this molecule, which is melanin, and then the melanin forms with other melanins to form this DNA. And then the DNA forms the genes, and the genes forms the genetics. The genetics form the chromosomes, and then you get the tissue, and then you get the lipids. Consciousness does that. And you need waters in your body to absorb that consciousness, to absorb those energies. You need the water in your body so that the cells has a liquid medium to provide interaction of different chemicals. You need alkaline waters, and the environment provides those alkaline mineral-rich waters, not your tap water, not your sink water. You're killing you. The people that you're running to You're embracing Europe. The people that have took over the world, you're embracing Europe, feeds you tap water. They feed you tap water. They're poisoning you purposely, and you're running towards them. I'm going to keep saying that because it's madness, and I love you. I love you. We love you. The black race loves the black race. I love my mama. I love my papa. So I love you. You don't need to go to them. You don't need to go to their institutions to cure cancer. You don't need to go to their institutions to cure diabetes. They're not going to help you. They're going to say you need this insulin shot for your diabetes, but in the insulin shot, they have uploaded E. coli. E. coli is in your insulin shots. You tell me, why in the world is E. coli in your insulin shots? Is that not deception? They have poisoned your so-called cure. They don't care about you. They never cared about you. They killed your grandmother. They killed your grandfathers. They took your pregnant woman. They tied your pregnant woman to two other ends of the horses, had them gallop in different directions, and then watched the fetus explode out the stomach. They continue to kill you today in Planned Parenthood, where they manipulate our misguided black and Latino woman to have these abortions, and then they take the genetics, they take this dead fetus and use it for their experiments. Celgene, Life Bank USA, Planned Parenthood. And you run towards them. You run towards them to help so that they can help you plan out how to raise this child with no father. And then they coerce you into getting an abortion just so that they could then get that genetic material, which is worth millions on the market. It's worth millions on the market. It's money. Money is the name of the game. That's how they operate. By money. Stop trusting them. Ethnogenetic variance is determined by the environment, the qualities of the sun, air, oxygen, water, and the fruits that it provides. The edible foods that it provides. Our DNA is the DNA of a watermelon. It is the DNA of a banana. These fruits have DNA. When you eat that DNA becomes one with you. That DNA within those fruits is information. That information is uploaded by a body, by your temple, and is then used to perform the task and the physiological task that it needs to perform. So that means that our lineage, our ancestors going back way in time, it is the burdock, it is the quinoa, it is the wild rice, it is the foods of the Congo, humid tropical environments. Humid tropical environments. It's the jackfruit. It's not the potato. It's not the cassava. It's not the pigfoot. It's not that. There is no potatoes that's growing wild in Africa. You go anywhere in Africa, you will only find a potato growing on a farm that man manages. Because the earth does not want to promote the life of a potato. So that's why you don't see it anywhere in the earth naturally. The earth does not want to promote the life of cassava, which is why you don't see it outside of a farm. You could plant it anywhere, but if you don't manually address to it, it will die, because the earth does not care for these things. You are the earth. You should not care for these things. You eat the cassava, it ferments in your body, and it leads to your destruction. So the environment and its foods play a role on a life, the quality of life for a life. The environment plays a role on the quality of life for a organism. So the environment is important. You could take a burdock seed. Dr. Sebi taught me that a burdock seed will not germinate in Central America. A burdock seed will not germinate in Central America. And why is that? It's because Central America doesn't have the energies conducive to the germination of the burdock seed. The energies that the burdock seed needs is not present in Central America. It's not present in Central America. There's certain qualities of sun, there's certain qualities of air, there's certain qualities of water, actually, is not present in Central America. A banana will not sprout in Canada, and that's because its structure is designed to grow in the tropics. The structure of a banana is designed to grow in the tropics. The energies that the banana need is not present in Canada. The environment plays a role on the life form. So an Australian Aboriginal in Alaska will surely die, because the Australian Aboriginal in Alaska would have to eat blubber. He had to eat the seals. He's not getting any warmth. He's not getting any sunlight. He's not getting mineral-rich waters. The environment plays a role in the life. A gorilla in Belgium will surely perish. A gorilla lives to be 240 years old. That's the lifespan of a gorilla in the wild, naturally, unadulterated, kept to himself, one with nature. 240 years, but you put a gorilla in the zoo, give him peanuts, give him cashews, give him a bunch of foods that his body has never, ever have to upload since its creation, since the creation of his ancestors. A gorilla doesn't know what the hell a peanut is, but a gorilla eats that peanuts, he eats that soy. And then a gorilla only grows to be 40, 50 years old. A gorilla could grow to be 240 years old, but in the zoo in captivity, when it's following the nutritional advice that you're following, it only grows to be 50 years old. So you understand? You were going to the colonizers. You were going to the people that don't understand you for health. They're killing us. They're killing the gorillas. A polar bear in the savannas will perish. A polar bear is not designed for that heat. The polar bear is not designed for those foods. The polar bear needs high protein. You do not need high protein. You were designed for that heat. You were designed for that food. Your melanin is there. Your melanin absorbs that heat. Your melanin combusts that food. And melanin is immunity. Melanin shows the ability to trap macrophages. As soon as the scratch comes up, melanin is directed to the area of the injury, and it traps and inhibits macrophages directly, not your white blood cells. You are trusting them. Black biology. Trust the people that care about you. Decolonize your mind, and let's decolonize our people. Let's make Wakanda real. We can make the Wakanda real. Right? So, here we can see that life is placed in specific geographical locations with specific foods. We can see that. And we can see that the life is dependent on those foods within those geographical locations. So, in Africa, in the homelands of the melanated gods, did we have pig? Did we have potato? Did we have carrots? Did we have this Cavendish banana that they have now in the supermarket? Did we have seedless fruits? No, we did not. Should we trust them since they're giving us seedless fruits? No, we should not. Should we be absolutely outraged that they give us seedless fruits? Yes, we should. Do you understand why the fruit is seedless? Well, the fruit is seedless because it has a chemical called colchine inside of it. Colchine attacks the magnesium and zinc mineral. Therefore, it can't produce a seed. Therefore, you eat that seedless fruit now. Now you have the colchine element within your body. Your body just uploaded that, and it's going to attack your zinc and your magnesium and your reproductive system. And therefore, you have now impacted your genetics and your lineage. Your children could be born with certain abnormalities that's not normal, and it's because you've been eating these seedless grapes, because you've been eating these seedless fruits. You might not even be able to produce a child because you've been eating the seedless grapes and these seedless fruits. The minerals that the sperm needs to be healthy has been attacked by the compounds in the seedless grapes and the seedless fruits. This is absolute madness. You are being fed something that could destroy your race of people, and we are compromising with that. We allow them to put it in the grocery stores. This is mad, but this is who you run to. The people that do this is who you run to because you want to embrace them. You think they're God. You don't know that you're God. You think they're God. These same people like Monsanto, Syngenta, I believe is the name, they make it illegal, and by law, it's illegal for a farmer to plant an organic fruit and to then harvest that fruit, to plant an organic seed, harvest the fruit that bears from the seed, and then the fruit now that bears from that seed will have more seeds in it that he could use for his next crop. That is the natural way of life. These people that you run towards for health and nutrition and advice have made that illegal. And they said that you have to buy our seeds, patented by us, that we own the rights to, because our seeds, we genetically modified it, and then we uploaded something called a terminator gene. Now what a terminator gene does is that it makes sure that the harvest that comes from the seed with the terminator gene does come with seeds. So that pumpkin will have a pumpkin seed, but that pumpkin seed will be sterile. And then you look at it and you think, oh, it looks like a true pumpkin. It looks like a real pumpkin. The Bible says every food with seed in it is yours for food. And you trust the Bible, a lot of you. Not all of you. For good reason. But you trust the Bible. And you eat that innocent looking pumpkin with the seed, but you don't know that that pumpkin has a terminated gene uploaded in it. So now you just ate something that's going to impact your ability to reproduce. This is a crime against humanity. This is madness. This is war on the black race. This is the work of the devil. Dr. Sebi said that we worship God, but we eat the devil's food. Dr. Sebi said that we'll live longer if we worship the devil but ate God's food. But the thing is that you worship the devil and eat God's food because you bleach your skin. You don't like the naturalness of your hair. You don't like your lips. You don't like your nose. So you then bleach your skin. You then straighten your hair. You then color your hair blonde. You then begin to speak like them. You then throw away your culture to chase after them, the devil. And we call them the devil because they do things that the likeness of the devil would do. This is not something that we just came up with. It's because they behave in ways of the devil. They strapped your grandmothers to chains. They fed your babies to crocodiles. They tested their swords on you. They what's the word I'm looking for? They promote abortions just so that they could get the fetus and use it for stem cell research and organ regeneration therapy. They promote abortions for that. They starve out Africa. They starve out Africa. They conquered the world. They starve out Africa. They starve out your people. They control the wealth of Africa. Hundreds of millions of your people are dying because of their control in Africa. So we call them devils. Because nothing they do is godlike. The nutrition that they feed, that they give to you is not godlike. That nutrition will lead to your death. Their nutritional advice will lead to your death. Their nutritional advice will lead to your death. It will lead to fermentation within your body. We are eating the devil's foods. When you say the devil, you think of bad consequence. When you eat white rice turns into a glue-like substance within your intestines. That glue-like substance now incubates pathogens. When those pathogens are incubated in those glue-like substances, well, now your body needs to uptake nutrients. So then you might eat something, your body is looking to absorb it. When it absorbs it, it's going to absorb some of the mucus and the pathogens with it because that's the environment of your intestines now. And then now these mucus and these pathogens finds way into your bloodstream. Your bloodstream goes everywhere in your body. So now this pathogen and this mucus is able to travel everywhere in your body. And it sets up camp in different specific places. So if it travels from your intestines all the way to your brain, well, now it's schizophrenia, now it's epileptic seizures. If it gets too heavy in your blood, it becomes sickle cell. Devil's foods. When you eat that meat, within that meat are viruses, what they call recombinant DNA. Recombinant DNA is nothing but a virus. So the meat, that flesh, that cow, that red meat that they say you need iron for. Iron? They say you need iron from this red meat. There's more iron in burdock than 1,000 cows. There's more iron in sarsaparilla than 1,000,000 cows. Deception is their name of the game. Because when you eat this red meat, well, now you're uptaking viruses, zoonotic viruses. So these are viruses. These are viruses that are able to exist within animals, and they're able to be uploaded into humans or by humans. Stuff like HSV, herpes simplex virus 1 and 2. It's a zoonotic disease that can exist within the tissues of meats. You eat that meat, so you upload HSV. You don't only get it from sexual transmitted diseases. You don't only get it from sexual intercourse. There is such a thing as zoonotic viruses that you can get by way of diet, HSV being one of which. It's the devil's food. That flesh will ferment into pus and rot in your insides. That's what you smell when you go to the bathroom. Your excretions should not smell like that. Your excretions should not smell like that. The insides of your body should not be in that type of environment. It should not be in that type of circumstance. That is the inside of your body. It should not be a filth cesspit. It should not be ran by macrophages and pus. It should not be in that situation. It gets that way by eating the devil's food. Right? Unorganic fruits are grown in soils that's been fertilized. Let's talk about fertilizers. These fertilizers are animal castings. Shit. It's shit. They're growing your foods in shit. Within this shit, viral code exists. Zoonotic diseases are uploaded in the fruit by way of this nitrogen fertilizers. Zoonotic diseases like HSV could be in your fruits. It could be in your vegetation. E. coli is uploaded intentionally into your insulin shots as well as in your Savoy spinach. Intentionally. But we trust them. We trust them. We eat the foods of the devil and we chase behind the devil. And it's leading to our extinction. So, what we have to do is we have to be obedient to cosmic procession. You have to be obedient to cosmic procession. Alright? You have to be obedient to the rules and the laws of divinity. The rules and the laws of divinity is apparent within nature. It's apparent within the observable universe. All we have to do is open our eyes to see. We need to get the blindfolds off of our eyes and open our eyes to see, because what we see is this. We see that every single species of animals of the earth always go to their own for nourishment and for education. So an elephant calf will not go to a grown giraffe in search of milk so that the elephant calf could grow. The elephant calf is not going to go to a hippo and suck the milk off a hippo. The elephant calf is going to go to a zebra and suck the milk off a mama zebra. The elephant calf is going to go to his mother and it's going to nourish itself and grow itself off the milk of the mother. So why is it that we are feeding our babies, ourselves, cow milk? Cow milk that has galactose that binds to our blood and poison it. poisons our blood. Galactose, that makes our blood fold over and sickle. Galactose. Why is it that we're going to the fluids of another animal to nurture ourselves and our young ones? Do you see an elephant going to a zebra? Do you see a zebra running to that lion for milk? Will the lion have what the zebra's body needs? Will that lion body have what the zebra body needs? Will the cow's body have what a human's body need? What a melanated human's body need? Absolutely not. It's the devil's food. Galactose and galactose amines bind to your blood and poisons you scientifically. Does an elephant send his calf to the hyena to be raised and to be taught the lessons of life so that he could be strong, wise, and survive a long time on this planet? A gazelle is hunted by lions, by cheetahs, by jaguars. Now, the gazelle needs to know how to survive in the African plains because there are a lot of predators around that sees him as a food source, that sees him as prey. A lot of carnivores around. Does the gazelle go to a crocodile to learn how to survive, to learn the truths of life? So why is it that we are sending our black youths, our children, to European dominated schools? What is it that these European dominated schools, what is it that they're going to teach our children so that they could help the black struggle, that so they could fix and heal the black struggle? What are they going to learn from Yale University other than how to be a white supremacist in mind? Because Yale University was designed, the curriculum was designed, the content that that black child is going to be reading and studying are the content of white supremacists that see themselves as supreme, which is why they took over the world. This is why they killed and they murdered. Your children are not going to study that material, and you think that that's going to help us? Stop running to Europe. Stop embracing these Asiatics. They don't care about you. I care about you. The black race care about you. We need to make Wakanda real. We need to have our own curriculums that teaches black history, that teaches that we built the pyramids, that teaches that we knew no rape, that teaches that we benefited every single other civilization, that we are the Olmecs, so we created civilization in the Americas, that we are the first indigenous Dravidians of India, that we created the Indus Valley civilization and Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. It was the black people that did that. We need to teach our youths that we created the first Chinese dynasty, the Shang dynasty. We need to teach the black youths that we are the indigenous of the Philippines, that we are indigenous of the Indonesias. We created civilizations there. We created science, chemistry, mathematics, the written language that they say the Arabics did. Arabia was completely black at its antiquity. Arabia was completely black at its antiquity. Arabia was completely black at its antiquity. We created the Arabic script. We created the Arabic language. We need to teach black history so black youth will have pride in their self, in their skin. The men will have the courage to do and say what needs to be said. The courage to do and say what needs to be said will lead to our liberation and our separation and the real Wakanda. Because you have action that is rooted in self-knowledge, to know oneself. Because what you do for yourself depends on what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself depends on what you know of yourself. What you know of yourself depends on what you've been told. What you've been told is what you've been told in the school of yours. We need black schools. We need to tell our children the truth to history so that they can have pride within themselves and they can stop looking up to Europeans, stop looking up to Asians. They'll start looking at our level with them and they'll walk like men, walk like real women and get Wakanda really going. And then we will see the respect of Africans all over the world, because this prejudice that exists now is because of false precepts saying that we didn't do a damn thing in history. So there's a bias against us, and the bias is that we are stupid because we didn't come up with any type of science and this and that and the third. Because the Greeks came and took our science. Plato, Socrates were all nothing but criminals that came and took our science. And then said they did it themselves. They went to Kemet and then said that they did it themselves. So we need our schools to teach true history. And then you will see a real transformation within the black race of people within one generation. So let's stop sending our calves and our children to the slave master. Let's stop following the advice of the slave master. They run off of death. They make money from death historically and still today. Your pain, your sorrow, your death, your oppression built America. Your pain, your death, your suffering builds these pharmaceutical companies. Your pain, your death, your suffering pays those doctors. Your pain, your death, and your suffering fuels me to heal you. If you're healed, their organization falls because they make money from death and suffering. If you're healed, their organization falls. If you know yourself, their organization falls. Because then you begin to do stuff in self-interest, in the interest of your race, in the interest of your family. Once you do that, their organization falls. Shatters. So, this is the intro to Black Biology. We're going to start to talk about, in future videos, HSV in particular, cancer in particular, AIDS in particular, obesity, diabetes, how to sustain health, how to sustain vitality, how to increase your oxygen, increase your iron. We're going to talk about these things. So I love you, my brothers and sisters. I love you, my elders. I love you, I love you, I love you. This really make Wakanda real. This really form a government based off of African thought, African philosophy. Separation is salvation. Separation is restoring ownership. Integration is the death of our people. I love you. Peace and Black power.